Hey guys, coming in to be another movie review for guys, and I know I haven't done a movie review in a while. I'm trying to do a lot of things, I'm trying to like binge shows and things like that. Just haven't really had the time. But this movie reviewing is a movie that I initially really wasn't looking forward to watching. I mean, the first trailer looked really great, but the second trailer kind of let me down. I really didn't know how the movie was going to be. But then I started to hear okay things about it, and then I heard really good things about it, and I was definitely didn't really know how this movie was going to be. But I finally seen it, and that movie is Goosebumps. Yes, Goosebumps. I finally watched it, and it's a movie I wanted to see for a while. I mean, I will say that back in the day, I might not be now, but back in the day, I was a pretty good big fan of Goosebumps. I used to watch the TV show all the time. I remember a lot of the episodes. I was a really big fan of it. It pretty much was, to me, God's gift to horror, but that's because I was a little kid. I mean, when you're a kid, you think that that's like the best horror ever, and then you grow up and you realize it's really cheesy stuff, but I still always kind of have a soft spot for Goosebumps. I think they're really creative. I think they're just really fun stuff for kids, and it's a good way to get kids exposed to horror without scaring them too much, and, I really don't know what this movie was going to be, though, because I really thought, I mean, is this movie really going to work now? Because, back then it was the 90s, things were cheesy, it would work then, but is it really going to work now? I really didn't know, and I pretty much went to this with an open mind, and I have to say that I overall really loved Goosebumps. I think it's a really fun movie, by far one of the most fun times I've had watching any movie this year, and overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really great movie overall. And there's a lot I really enjoyed about it. And there was a lot of stuff that I was very surprised about, definitely. Now let's get to the plot of Goosebumps, because the plot is one of my favorite things about the movie by far. I really do love the plot of this movie. The plot of this movie is overall pretty simple. We see there's this our main character is this man is this boy Zach. He is moving into this town, and he doesn't have a lot of friends there. Obviously, it's a weird transition for him. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He's kind of a loner, and one day he meets this girl, Hannah, who Hannah and him is like the first girl that he really bonds with. He does have one other friend, Champ, but Hannah's like the first girl he really does bond with. And one day he starts to realize something weird is going on in her house, and starts to think there's something off about her father, who at first is calling himself Mr. Shivers, but eventually is revealed to be R.L. Stein, and Zach realizes that R.L. Stein's books are still there, and one day they open R.L. Stein's books, and basically when they open up his books, all hell breaks loose, and they have to do whatever they can to, stop the creatures from the books. They start to come to life, mainly because of Slappy. Slappy wants to basically take control of all the creatures and kind of write his own story. So R.L. Stein has to write one last great book to basically get all the creatures back into the book, and that basically is the plot of Goosebumps, which I really do love the plot of this movie. It's a lot of fun, and the plot's a lot more simple than I made it out to be, but I definitely really do love this movie overall. Let's get to the acting in this movie, because by far one of the things I loved the most was the acting. I was a bit worried about Jack Black. I really was. I was very worried that Jack Black was going to be really over the top and really just cheesy and not really show the true essence of R.L. Stein. He was perfect in this. I think he really did a great job as R.L. Stein. He portrayed the madness very well. He portrayed the humor of R.L. Stein very well. And he also really, I think, portrayed the passion for R.L. Stein. I mean, you really see why R.L. Stein wrote these books, the passion he had for it. It was really interesting. They did some really great stuff with his character, and I was overall really impressed. I mean, his character ended up being a lot more complex than I thought he was going to be, and they really did a good job with it. I mean, you really believed he was R.L. Stein. It wasn't Jack Black playing R.L. Stein. It really felt like he was R.L. Stein, and as a result, I think this is one of Jack Black's better roles in a very long time. So let's face it, Jack Black has not been doing some very good movies lately, and I think this is definitely one of his better ones. He did a very good job as R.L. Stein, and I think he had the part down very, very well. I have to say, definitely he did a really good job with that. Dylan Minnette. Also, if you guys don't know, Jack Black also played Slappy. He also voiced Slappy in the movie, and he is great at voicing Slappy. Slappy is just awesome in this movie. I remember Slappy from the Night of the Living Dummy books. He does sound different in this movie, but I think Jack Black really portrayed just the really maniacal side of Slappy very well. He's a really awesome villain, and all of Slappy's, like, quips and things that he'd say are really funny, and I thought he did a really great job overall. The kids as well, all the main actors were really, really great. Dylan Minnette as Zach was really good in this movie as the new neighbor. I mean, you really care about his character. You know, he's kind of alone, and he did a good job with, with his character. Definitely, he was really great. I really cared about his character. You saw the passion he had for, especially the character of Hannah and how much he wanted to save the town. He definitely did a very good job with that. I did feel his character was a bit one note. I will say that I think his character was good overall. A bit one note, but you eventually do realize what his character is going through, and I overall really enjoyed that. When you get into the emotional stuff with his character, it's really, really great. And he definitely did a very good job, I have to say. Especially towards the third half of this movie. That's really when his character got great. He was great before that, but the third half especially, he was really great. Odia Rush as Hannah, I really loved her character. I mean, she's a very mysterious character. You don't really know what's going on with her. You don't know why. It takes a while for them to actually set up, that this is R.L. Stine, and they did a good job with that, definitely. I mean, at first, you don't really know what's going on with her and things like that, and I thought she did a very good job overall. She was very charming. The chemistry between her and Zach was really, really good, and I overall thought that she was really great in the movie as well. I definitely really liked her character. Really good stuff. Who I was most impressed by, though, was Ryan Lee as Champ. He was so awesome. Champ is essentially who we all are if we were to meet R.L. Stine. I mean, he is this huge nerd. He's a huge fan of R.L. Stine, and I really loved his character in the movie. He was a lot of fun. He did a really good job with not making his character annoying. I was like, oh shit, the nerd. Please don't make him annoying and make him stereotypical. But no, while he was stereotypical, he was funny. He really was funny, and I really enjoyed his character overall. Whenever he would freak out about R.L. Stine, things like that, it was really funny, especially since he knows the Goosebumps books. I thought he was definitely very funny, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought overall he was really great. And also, all the characters knowing about the Goosebumps books and knowing what happens in them, that's something that works very well in this movie as well, because, had they not known about the Goosebumps books, I don't think this movie would have been as fun as it was, because, they know everything that's going to happen, they know things like that, and it's a lot of fun to watch, definitely, what, they set up. So I really enjoyed that. I was most surprised, though, I have to say, besides Champ, I was also surprised by Amy Ryan as Gail, who I thought was really great as the mother. I definitely really liked her. But Jillian Bell as Lorraine, holy shit, she was so funny. Zach's aunt was so great. She has so many funny lines in the movie. I loved her character, and she really did a great job. Everyone in this movie as a whole, I thought the whole cast was really great. There was a cameo in the movie that I won't spoil, but I thought everyone really did a great job in the cast. Overall, really good casting. The director by Robert Letterman, I thought was very good to this movie. He tried not to take it too seriously, which I like, but there are points when he did want to take this movie seriously, and I thought he did a good job with it. There are actually some points in this movie where it does get kind of emotional, and I was surprised by that, but you know what? It works very well to this movie. I was kind of worried that, is this really gonna work? Do we really need this emotional stuff? But no, I thought it worked really well. I thought overall everything and they did with the movie emotionally worked very well. I really enjoyed that part of the movie, and for me at least, I thought it was just as strong as the comedic stuff. And yes, this movie is very funny. I will say that. I'll get to that in the screenplay, but the movie is very much a gothic comedy, which I definitely really enjoyed, and they did make it, creepy and things like that. I really love the tone of it. I thought the directing overall was really strong. I definitely really loved it, definitely. But the screenplay is really, I think, what makes this movie as good as it is. Besides Jack Black's portrayal and all that other stuff, the screenplay really is what makes this movie really great. Except for the first, I'd say 20 minutes, not the most interesting. I will say that. The beginning of the movie, it's basically setup. I understand it's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of setup there. I just was not that interested. I'm like, okay, this is like a million other movies I've seen. Kid moves in, not really having any friends, da-da-da. It's once you find out that this is R.L. Stine, that's when the movie really starts to get great. And that's when I thought the movie really picked up, I have to say. I thought overall the screenplay was really great after that. There's a really great twist in this movie, surprisingly. The movie, surprisingly, was a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. And that's something I was very impressed by. I was expecting this to be a very just one joke comedy, not really a lot to it, But honestly, I wouldn't just say this movie's for kids. I'd say this movie is really something for everyone. And I was very impressed by that. And I really love that, I have to say. I didn't expect the movie to be like that, but they really did a great job with giving something for kids, something for, teenagers, something for adults, and I really thought that was very well done. But there are so many great references to Goosebumps. I will tell you guys, if you guys have not read the Goosebumps books, don't even watch this movie, mainly because you're not gonna get most of the jokes in this movie. There are so many great jokes and so many little references, some that I didn't even get that my friend had to point out to me, and when I realized what they were, I thought they were hilarious, honestly. I thought all the jokes in this movie were really, really funny. They did a really good job.
You're welcome.
Sorry, as my friend. I'm gonna turn on a light because it's getting really dark in here, guys. I thought all the jokes, like I said, I thought they were all very well handled. I really enjoyed the jokes to this movie. And they had some really clever ones in there, and I was surprised by how great they did with that. Like I said, there's also some really great emotion in this movie. Like when you find out the reason why R.L. Stein wrote the books, I'm not going to spoil it, but I think it was very well handled the way they did that. And I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's the real reason why R.L. Stein wrote the books. But if that's true, that's really interesting. I really enjoyed it. But they also did a great job with the horror elements of this movie. This movie at times is kind of scary. I will admit that. There were a few times where I was a bit scared. I really thought they handled it very, very well. There's one scene at a school dance, and there's like this, it's supposed to be like a funny scene. It was honestly kind of scary. I really enjoyed the way they did that, and they really got that across very, very well. My only gripe with this movie really is the cinematography, and this isn't too much of a complaint, but the motion capture, and everyone said this, I do agree, the motion capture on like the werewolf fever swamp and things like that in the beginning of the movie when you first see these creatures is very obvious and really does not look very good. I mean, I was honestly kind of worried that they weren't going to look that good. The thing is, a lot of things don't look like that, but some of it did, and I was a bit worried that that's what it was going to look like throughout the whole movie, but luckily it didn't. Eventually, it looked a lot better after that, and I was happy about that, but I was very worried that, they were going to look badly. But then, like, Slappy looked really good in this movie, I have to say. Slappy looked really good. The jack-o'-lanterns looked good. The gnomes looked really good. I mean, most of the creatures looked very good. It was just a few that looked really bad, and it didn't necessarily, ruin the movie for me, but it did look kind of obvious and did take away from the magic of this movie. I was hoping they could have done a bit more with it, but they didn't, unfortunately, which kind of sucked. But I thought the cinematography really was my only gripe with the movie. The score by Danny Elfman, the fact they got Danny Elfman to do the score to this movie is awesome. I love it. He did the score. You very much get like a Nightmare Before Christmas, just like Tim Burton feel. I was surprised this movie wasn't directed by Tim Burton because I definitely felt like Tim Burton. By the way, guys, most of the effects in this movie were actually practical. They tried to make them as practical as possible, definitely. But the things that weren't practical did look kind of obvious, I will say that. But the score to this movie was very solid. I really enjoyed. The movie was going to be directed by Tim Burton, apparently. I'm surprised that it wasn't directed by Tim Burton because it feels like a Tim Burton movie. It has a look and feel of one, and you definitely get that feel. But I thought Danny Elfman really scored the movie very, very well. I was very impressed by his score. Perfect. I was a little bit upset that they didn't use the intro to the Goosebumps theme, but I kind of took it as this is trying to be its own thing. It's not trying to be like the Goosebumps TV show. It's trying to be more like the Goosebumps books, and I thought they handled that very, very well. I really enjoyed that. The editing was fine. Like I said, the first 20 minutes kind of dragged a bit, but after that, when they really started getting into the story, I really got into it, and I really enjoyed it, and the movie was surprisingly very effective. The ending especially was quite effective, I have to say. Not necessarily the very end, because the very end has something really cool, but the climax of this movie, like towards the end, like the final fight, was actually very emotionally effective. I was surprised by how into it I really was. And the ending to this movie, some people might be a little bit upset by. I will tell you guys, this movie does end with a cliffhanger, but if you guys think about it, that's how most of the Goosebumps books end, and that's how most of the TV show ended. They both ended with cliffhangers. That's just something they're known for. So I thought it was very well handled the way they did that, and I honestly really love that. So overall, guys, Goosebumps is a really fun time. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. It was some of the most fun I've had watching any movie this year. It was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be a really fun movie, but no, it's surprisingly it's some really good emotion to it, which I really enjoyed, and I definitely recommend you guys check it out. And I'm definitely going to give Goosebumps a 4.5 out of 5 or an A-, like I said, only because of the first 20 minutes and some of the motion capture looked a little obvious, but it didn't ruin the movie enough for me to still Really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it. If you're a Goosebumps fan, if you're not a Goosebumps fan, honestly, don't watch it because you're not going to get half the references that are in the movie. In the movie, I don't think it's as good as a time if you haven't seen Goosebumps. But overall, guys, it's my review, Goosebumps. Let me know what you guys saw this movie. You have seen it. I overall really did love it. And I will see you guys in the next video, which will be for another movie review. I know I need to catch up on movie review, so I'm trying to do that. And I will review Jessica Jones and The Man in the High Castle today. I'll make sure I review both of those. So I will see you guys in the next video, which will be for another movie review, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.